In Alaska, mudflats are very widely talked about. There are mudflats in numerous places around the world, but Alaska will be the one that I'm talking about today. If you visit Alaska, most likely someone will have told you about mudflats by the time you leave Alaska. I visited Alaska a couple weeks ago, and many people had told me about the mudflats of Alaska and how dangerous they can be. You may be wondering, what is a mudflat? Mudflats are also known as tidal flats and are coastal wetlands that form as a result of sediment washing up on the shore from rivers or tides. They are located within the intertidal zone, which is where the zone in between the low tide and high tide, and they are only visible twice a day. They assist in the prevention of coastal erosion, and in recent years they are under threat from the predicted sea levels rising. Now that you know what a mudflat is, it is important to know the dangers of mudflats. There are many dangers of mudflats. It is important to know all the dangers to avoid getting stranded and potentially dying. There are many trails that residents use that are open to the public for visitors to use. These trails could end up leading to these mudflats, and most of the residents already know that, but some of the visitors do not. Many of these people that end up going to the mudflats and don't have any idea that they're there, they end up getting stuck and are in need of rescue. First responders require special training for rescuing people from mudflats. If the rescuing is not done right, more people could end up getting stranded. If you encounter a situation where you see someone stuck in a mudflat, it is best to call for help instead of trying to help them yourself. An example of someone that you would wait for is firefighters, because they are professionally trained to extract people from the mud. The mudflats are like a vacuum, and the more you try to pull yourself out of the mud, the more you are going to get stuck. And this is similar to quicksand. With an interview between Tri-City News and Rob Suzukovich, Rob stated that he got stuck in a mudflat with only a matter of walking 3 steps. Luckily, he was able to get unstuck because he was a fire captain and was training firefighters to extract people from the flats. Now that you know the dangers of mudflats, you need to know what to do when you encounter them. How to be safe around mudflats. The best thing to do when you get stuck is to wait for help so that the professionals can help the stuck person so that you do not end up getting stuck with them. If you are stuck, the best thing to do is to not move around, because like I stated before, it is similar to quicksand and you will end up sinking. It is very important to look around you while you are close to the shore or heading near a big body of water, that you look for danger signs that may be stating that there are mudflats around. Most of these signs say that you should avoid the area, and even if you are a resident, but is more for the visitors. When firefighters are rescuing someone from a mudflat, they wear special shoe covers that help disperse their weight so they can stand on top of the mud. When rescuing a person from the mudflat, they also bring an extra pair for the victim once they are rescued, or once they're extracted. Sorry. One thing they use to actually help them get them unstuck from the mud is a power hose. So it blows away all the water, all the mud, and it fills that area with water, so that way the person can get unstuck a lot easier. It is advised that people should not go out on low tide because you could get stuck in the mud, and then when the high tide comes in, you could potentially drown because you're stuck. The best way to avoid getting stuck and potentially dying is staying off the mudflats completely. Knowing how to be safe around mudflats is what could save your life one day. In conclusion, it is important to know about mudflats, how dangerous they are, and how to be safe around a mudflat. I know that it may be a scary thing to think or talk about, but it must be talked about to help other people stay safe. And it's vital to be straight to the point with it because it can potentially save your lives someday. And, dying is not a joking thing. I hope that you learned a lot about mudflats so that you can help keep your friends and family safe while